Hello, and welcome to The Wave from Ocean Reef, a podcast about the flow of life today and how you and I might ride with or swim against it. I'm Dan Meyer, Chaplain-in-Residence at the beautiful Ocean Reef community in Key Largo, Florida, and here's The Wave for today. A man by the name of G.W. Target tells the story of two seriously ill men who occupied the same hospital room. To help drain the fluid in his lungs, the man in the bed by the window was allowed to sit up for an hour each afternoon. The condition of the man by the door required that he spend all of his time flat on his back. As the men talked, they found they had much in common. They spoke of their families, their homes, their jobs. They discussed their travels and their shared experience in the military. Most of all, they talked about how hard it was to be so sick and stuck in this sterile cell of a room. One element of their life together provided special relief to them both. During the hour the first man was allowed to sit up, he would describe in detail to his bed-bound roommate all the things he could see outside his window. The window apparently overlooked a park that had a lovely lake and grand old trees. Ducks played on the water, while children sailed their model boats and young lovers walked arm in arm. One afternoon, a parade passed by, and although the other man couldn't hear the band, he could see it in his mind's eye as his roommate described it all in such vivid detail. The man on his back came to live for those hours when, through his colleague's eyes, he would enter the glories of the world outside. And then one day, another thought slithered into his mind. Why should my roommate get to see so much while I never get to see anything? At first, the man suppressed the thought. But the more he tried to push it away, the more it surged back up. It didn't seem fair that he should be in this position, and that the other man should be in his. In time, his resentment and desire for that window view increasingly consumed him. Late one night, the man by the window began to cough, and then to choke on the fluid in his lungs. Through the dim light, the other man could see his roommate flailing wildly, groping for the call button. He knew that all he had to do was to press his own call button, and one of the nurses would come running. But he did nothing. Within minutes, the choking subsided and then stopped until a deadly silence filled the room. The following morning, the dead man was found and his body removed. When a suitable time had passed by, the man in the bed by the door asked one of the nurses, do you suppose I might be moved over next to the window?" 2 orderlies came in. They wheeled away the empty bed, and they rolled his bed into its place. When everyone had left, the man slowly, painfully struggled to prop himself up on one elbow. At long last, he would get his first look at all he'd been missing, and as he turned to gaze out the window, he found himself staring through the glass panes at the face of a blank brick wall. Of all the so-called deadly sins, envy is one of the most insidious. It starts out like a harmless little garter snake. But if it's fed at all, it soon grows into a green-eyed monster capable of choking off our peace and joy and destroying our bond with the very people that God intended to be among our most precious allies in this challenging world. Along these lines, the famous actor Sir John Gielgud once confessed, "When Laurence Olivier played Hamlet in 1948, the critics raved and I wept." Thomas Aquinas wrote that the perversity of envy is that it leads us to feel sorrow at another's good. Or as a French philosopher once suggested, it leads us to a sense of secret satisfaction at the misfortunes of one's friends. Have you never inwardly smiled when you showed up at the reunion and found that the homecoming queen had put on 40 pounds? Have you never felt some pleasure when that guy who takes your money on the links winds up and drives a clod of turf farther than the ball? Have you never felt a little bit of satisfaction at the news that your high-flying friend or your business competitor has suffered a loss more akin to the kind you've known too often yourself? This is how envy works. It enters through the crack of commonality. It turns people who should be our colleagues into our perceived competitors. Envy then distorts our minds so that we start feeling sorrowful in the presence of others' good and smugly satisfied in the presence of others' failure. Left unaddressed, envy can even lead us to wish for another's destruction. Dorothy Sayers observes, envy begins by asking plausibly, why should I not enjoy what others enjoy? But it ends by demanding, why should others enjoy what I may not? But here's the pinch. Even if we succeed in getting our place by the window, so long as it is the green-eyed monster through which we are seeing life, all we'll meet in our quest for joy is the face of a blank brick wall. God, teach me to celebrate your goodness at work in others and to be more content with the good that you've given to me. That's today's Wave from Ocean Reef. If you know of others who might appreciate this sort of content, I hope you'll pass it along or encourage them to find me on Spotify, Apple, or other podcast outlets. Until next time, I'm Dan Meyer, hoping that the flow of life is good for you.